Dr. Art Mollen is here, and let's start off with these photographs.
Yes, it's
that
Mother's
you
Day,
brought.
so happy Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Can we show this?
Yeah, that's
Here,
right.
Scott, take a photo.
And that's my mother, passed away in 2001, so
Yeah.
happy Mother's Day. I like to wish her happy Mother's Day every year, and I think that everybody should make sure they tell their mother that they love them.
Yes.
Yes.
Doctor's orders.
Right. So now I have some great advice for
Saving a
everyone
life.
out there for saving a life. So the first one is, let me, Austin, have a seat, because
Our
you're going to
willing
be
victim.
our victim today. So the first thing is, if someone has massive bleeding, what you want to do is, obviously you're not going to have a tourniquet. This is a tourniquet, but we have other props that we use, and if you have a belt, you can take the belt. You want to put it above the area that might be bleeding, and you want to pull it as tightly as possible. You can leave it on for a period of 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
But this will actually stop the bleeding. So for instance, this is about 2 inches. You don't want to put it on a joint. You always want to put it on the bone area. So if the bleeding happens to be in the hand, then you want to take it down and you can put it here. So if there happens to be a bleed in, say, the brachial artery, that's where you want to do it. And you tighten it as much as possible. Perhaps it's the femoral artery, and they've been out, they've been in a car accident. You stop by, you see it, you take your shirt off, and you can always put this as tightly as possible, and you can leave it on for 2 hours until help arrives, but that will stop the bleeding. You check it at least every 2 hours if you're out in the wilderness or something, and then you can just, relieve it a little bit, because if there's too much swelling or bleeding, you don't want that either. But you can keep it on there for a period of 2 hours. So bleeding, that's the first one. The second one is CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
All right, Austin.
So with this, you want to place 2 hands and you want to press down and do compressions on the chest. You press down about 2 inches. Now, the most important thing with this, you don't have to do the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation anymore. You can do it if you are trained, but you want to press down about 100 to 120 times per minute and just keep that going for as long as you can until help arrives. Now, the most important thing, you can save a life with this. Even if you're not 100% sure of how to do it, you will save a life. And most people who have cardiac arrest, they don't make it. So this is something that's important. Next thing, Heimlich maneuver.
Austin, you're a champ, buddy.
Okay, so with the Heimlich maneuver, first thing you do, you pat the person on the back and you have them cough. You want to have them cough as much as possible to dislodge whatever happens to be in the trachea. And then you get underneath, you press down, again, about 2 inches, and that will help them to dislodge whatever is stuck in there, because it presses on the lungs, and the lungs exert that pressure to get something out. So there you go. There are 3 things.
So what if the person's physically bigger than you? Can you still kind of get this done?
Yeah, you can still get around, even if they were out here. So, and again, you just right up underneath the sternum here and underneath the diaphragm. So the diaphragm is that large muscle that extends under the chest and separates from the stomach. You press on it as much as possible. So the Heimlich maneuver is a really good procedure.
Yeah, and also
it'll save a life.
Poison control, you wanted to talk about that as well?
Yeah.
Poison control?
Yeah. So if someone happens to have swallowed something, say it's a detergent, you don't want them to start trying to throw up. We used to give them syrup of ipecac, but we don't do that anymore. The syrup of ipecac, because it can actually, if they have a corrosive substance, it'll actually corrode the inside as they're coughing it up in terms of their esophagus and everything. So you're better off just call poison control. Don't do something on your own. The person doesn't need to vomit up everything.
Yeah. Okay, great advice.
Yeah, so there are 3 things that'll save a life.
And Austin, kudos, man. Thanks for showing up for us. We
Good job.
appreciate you.
Yeah, good job.
Have a good day, Dr. Wright. Thanks
Happy
for
Mother's
being
Day.
here. We'll be
Okay.
right back, Arizona.